Evening. I'd like to open up the December 4th, 2017 Board of Selectmen's meeting and call it to order. Is anybody taping the meeting?
Pre-cam.
And also the Board of Selectmen. I'd like to stand and do the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Last night was the annual tree lighting that took place at the center in Assonet. I just want to thank Allie Goltz, our administrative assistant, for everything that she did to pull that together, as well as the cultural council and all the volunteers. It really, it's a small treasure in town, and it's very noticeable that we are definitely in the Christmas spirit in the town of Freetown. So thank you, Allie. All right. That being said, we have a Board of Health variance at 94 Richmond Road at 6 o'clock. 6:10, we have a second variance for 41 Flag Swamp Road. We have various renewals of Class 2 licenses, annual renewals of liquor licenses, annual renewal of Class 2 and Class 3 motor vehicle licenses, also a graveyard license renewal and auctioneer license renewal. We'll discuss the special election options for the marijuana retail sales, approved sign road opening permit for 93 Main Street, submitted by Eversource. We'll also talk about the charge for the Cable Advisory Committee. We'll discuss the town Christmas party and the closures of town offices for Christmas. Approve the Board of Selectmen's minutes. Form November 20th, 2017. The town administrator will have his report. Also under personnel, approve change of status for Dorothy Stanley Ballard as the library director, and also discuss a letter sent by her regarding the increase in the library technician hours. Under new business, we just have to go over our upcoming meetings, and with that being said, is anybody here for public discussion?
I just wanna know when they can clean that Ridge Hill Road.
So, I guess there's a question for Ridge Hill Road and who is responsible for sweeping that. Is it the highway department? Is it,
The legal way should be the highway department, right?
I would assume,
Chucky said he doesn't wanna send this thing down there because of the metal on the road. That's the object, we can't get them that up.
so can we have,
I can do that.
thank you. Also, can you also put down on the agenda, for the next meeting, discuss, parking on Water Street? Thank you.
Do you want Chuck at that meeting for that also?
Yeah.
And what about Gary, the fire chief?
Gary, also, I got a call from the bus company. They're having an issue as well, so he will be at the meeting as well to talk about that. I guess if, you know, whatever happens is gonna have an impact on the bus routes because they can't get down that road.
Yeah,
And-
I've had complaints myself.
With the snow coming up, I wanna make sure that the board takes care of that sooner rather than later. So if we can put that on the agenda for the next meeting, that would be great. Okay. Sorry, 94 Richmond Road, Board of Health variance. I'm gonna actually turn this over to the Board of Health Chair.
Okay, I'll call it to order the hearing for 94 Richmond Road. Do you have your green card?
No green cards, we're not affecting any abutters, only on-site variances. Darren McHale is from Foresight Engineering. So we have a home that's vacant, failed the Title V inspection. Very high groundwater table on the site, actually call it 2 feet below grade, with water at 4 feet below grade. So of course we have a big mound going in for a septic system. And unfortunately the plumbing can't be raised. It's only a foot in the ground now, and with a 2-foot water table, we then require the variances for the tanks to be closer than 1 foot to the water table. And we're also asking for the SID variance for the perk test because we weren't able to run a perk test due to the wet soils. It was coarse sand, so very permeable. And we're asking for a waiver from 5 foot to 4 foot for the height of the system to try and keep the mound down a little bit. As you can see, the backyard's pretty flat right now, and We're gonna tuck it in next to the old pool that he's gonna fill in, that's kinda caved in. Yep, the old pool house is gonna be removed and that pool is gonna be filled in. It's already half caved in, a tree fell in it.
Good reason to get rid of it.
Yeah, I ripped the liner right in, so. There's no increase in flow, greater than 100 feet to everybody's wells. And there's no wetlands involved, the wetlands are across the street.
You put on your plan your adjacent wells. I see your existing well here.
No wells within 100 feet, there's
No.
just notes, yeah. They're too far to even show on the plan.
Okay.
Yeah,
And your existing well's 105, is that what it says?
Yes.
Because I don't see an arrow, it just says 105.
yeah, 105,
That's to the field?
to the field, yes.
Okay.
Any conditions on this?
I
Do
don't
you have
believe,
them? No?
yeah, I don't believe there'll be any
None?
conditions or restrictions.
How many bedrooms is this designed
It's a
for?
3-bedroom home and we're designing for 400 gallons a day, so we're not increasing flow. With the groundwater variance, we're not allowed to, so.
Okay, Derek just notes, prove water tightness for tank.
Yep.
With Board of Health on site.
Yep, so at time of installation of the tanks, the Board of Health and I will meet out there, and if the tanks are already in the water table and the water has come up, then we'll leave them overnight and make sure there's no infiltration. If they're monolithic tanks, we'll just make sure when they go in, there's no cracks, or we can fill the tanks with water and come back the next day and make sure there's no leak. So we'll make that decision on site, how to determine that.
Okay, seeing no one here from the public, apparently there's no public input, so I'll close that
How
section.
about Tara? Do you have any input on? Good.
So you recommend?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, with that, I'll close the hearing. Any discussion among the members? Any issues?
No, the only caveat is a deed restriction to the
Right.
3 bedrooms. So I'll make a motion to allow for the variances requested with that deed restriction for the 3 bedrooms.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. I'd like to put on to, maybe we should have engineering review for some of these until Derek's has been doing it for a while, just in case there's any
Yeah.
just so noticeable. So we might want to discuss that at the next agenda, put that on the next agenda for next meeting. What was the next one, 15?
6:10.
No way, mills abatements, can't sneak those in.
I want to approve the minutes of the Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve as a written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain. That was easy. All of 30 seconds.
I could have said it slower.
So Gronk got a 1-game suspension.
I
You
abstain.
Idiot.
That was stupid.
Oh, it's the stupidest thing ever. My emotions got the best of me. Yeah.
You think?
You know how huge you are? You could kill somebody. Oh my God, you're a truck driver. Ugh.
A lot of insults right there, being hurled.
No, well, he's
Giant
massive.
man, truck driver.
I wasn't, it had nothing to do with you.
Well, I always get confused between me and Gronk.
Yeah.
Common mistake.
Okay, 6:10.
It's
All right,
done.
being 6:10, we'll open the hearing for 41 Flag Swamp Road.
Actually, I've got plenty right here to open up for you, to make it easier.
Yeah.
Steve Gilbert, SFG Engineering. We're repairing the septic system on 41 Flag Swamp. It's a 4-bedroom duplex. And because of the location of the wells, our well and the abutting well,
The well radius is only give us this area right here to put a septic system. Once again, we've got a well radius here and a well radius here. This is the only area we have to put a septic system.
Okay.
And basically, we're putting it there where it was, the old system is right here, right side of it. And by putting it there, it's getting closer to the wetlands than you typically would want, but we don't really have any option to put anywhere else. We're requesting a variance for your setbacks to the wetlands for the septic system itself to be about 51 feet. And the septic tanks, there are actually two tanks because it's a duplex, to be about 84 feet at the closest point to the wetlands. Last time we were in here, you asked for a deed restriction, and it seems like that's something you're always gonna want, so we did include that on the plan, that this is
Perfect.
gonna be deed restriction, that it's gonna be limited to 4 bedroom, and it can't be increased, and that gets recorded with the registry of deeds. I'm on the assumption that when we seek these variances, are you always gonna request that? Because if so, we'll just put it on.
Yeah,
It seems like something you want,
pretty much a
right?
standard, yeah.
Okay, so we'll just include it on the plan, which we did on this one.
If you're coming for a variance, you're gonna build a system, we don't want to add bedrooms to a
Yeah.
system that's
Makes sense.
already outside of
Right.
Yeah, I understand. So we took a liberty putting on, thinking that you might want it.
Perfect.
Looks like your topography lines, which I like, by the way, the last one didn't have lines. You're going uphill, you're 8 feet difference between the front of the property and the back of the property.
Oh, yeah, it drops down dramatically, yes.
And your
It's
wetlands,
dropping down, right, to the left.
wetlands are here, this is the street here, so you're printed out by the street. What's your setbacks from that street?
Yeah, 10 feet to the septic system. Yeah, we're at about 40 at the front of the road, when it drops down the wetlands, the back, we're about 40 here.
A big drop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's wetlands on the rear and also on the side, because we've got runoff from the road coming in this culvert right here. So the wetlands basically go around the whole property.
So are you looking at the wetland setback?
Yes, correct. With the septic tank and the leaching area.
Anything else?
Any input from anyone in the public? Seeing no input, hearing no input, I'll close the public hearing. Any other questions from the board?
I'll make the motion to allow the variance requested from the setbacks. Are you still gonna need an RDA?
Oh, we've already been through the.
You've already been through Concom and everything?
Conservation, I should mention that,
Perfect.
they've already approved it, yeah.
Okay.
We're all set.
So I'll make a motion to allow the variance for the distance as noted on the plan from the wetlands and the deed restriction which is already on the plan for the 4 bedrooms duplex.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey,
The other,
Oh, the other existing house is gone. Okay.
ready?
Yep.
Alright. Renewal 2017 Class 2 license for Main Street Auto. What's the board's pleasure?
Make a motion. Pass that.
Now, this came up last year, and I don't know, last year, Main Street Auto, there was an issue with the excise tax owed. It appears there might be an issue this year. I believe last year we granted it with the stipulation that once it's paid, it would be given. I don't know if it actually was paid, I don't know if we actually issued it even last year, so.
We issued it last year.
Yeah. The owner is gonna get into a payment plan. His doesn't owe any more taxes except for the current taxes, is from what I understand.
It's my
Okay.
understanding also.
Um,
There's others who are also with taxes.
Correct.
Right.
So I'd second the approval on the same caveat as last year, which would be amended, I'd like to make amendment with the caveat that once the taxes are paid, we issue the license like we did last year.
Second.
All right, so you're saying that you're not gonna give him the license until he
Pays
pays the full full boat of the taxes.
Well, he only owes for this year, you said, he paid,
Right.
right, so all he owes is for the one he, is this year.
It's about 6. So, from what I understand, he's gonna enter into a payment plan.
Okay,
Uh,
if it comes up with a payment plan, I'd be fine with that.
All right, so as long as he
As long as
shows
he
good
enters-
faith effort towards a payment plan, then he should get his license, not,
Doesn't have to be paid
I
in full.
personally don't wanna wait until the,
Doesn't have to be paid in full,
Okay.
but as long as he comes up and enters into a payment plan, then I'm fine with that.
Okay.
It's just,
yes. All right,
I would say with the payment plan, I'd like to see a June 31st, 2018 date for any taxes owed by any licensee
June-
be paid.
June 30th?
Yes, so
June 30th.
20 of 18.
Okay. So, we have,
I made an amendment to his motion to enter into a payment. Either he pays it or enters into a payment plan.
is your amendment gonna include the 2018, June 30th deadline?
I will stipulate that for Charlie,
Okay.
as Charlie's request. Do you
So-
second the
I'll
amendment?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now to vote on the motion as amended.
I will second Charlie's original motion with the amendment,
And I have a second.
and made it, and I
Oh, so,
seconded it.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, annual renewal of liquor licenses and others issued by the Board of Selectmen.
That was for a liquor license, or that was for?
That was for, the Class 2
I thought so,
license.
okay.
So now we're getting into the liquor licenses. So we have, as read, all alcohol package store, Assonet Star Market, Circle K, K&E Liquors Incorporated, all alcohol Veterans Club, Freetown Memorial Post 6643 VFW, all alcohol restaurant, Independence Harbor, the Nephews Italian American Kitchen, Inc., wine and malt package store, Grandpa's Place and Prime Express, entertainment license, Independence Harbor, the Nephews Italian American Kitchen, and Freetown Memorial Post 6643 VFW, jukebox license for Freetown Memorial Post 6643 VFW, and automatic devices, Freetown Memorial Post 6643.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we issue these licenses with the same caveat as.
These are all already paid in full, they're good to go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I believe so. As a stipulation, I just think it might be a good idea to have it there.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, annual renewal of Class 2 and Class 3 motor vehicle licenses and other licenses by the Board of Selectmen. Class 2 motor vehicle licenses, Claremont's Auto Sales, JM Auto Sales, Chipaway Auto Sales, John's Auto Body and Sales, F&F Auto Sales, Evolution Auto Sales, Bob's Motor Works, CJ Auto Sales, Miller Auto Sales, Ray's Garage, Herb's Auto Body and Repair and Sales, Bowler's Garage, PJ's Tires, Sandman Auto Sales, DPF Enterprises, Euro Classics, Chopperhead Custom Cycles, Basic Used Cars, Trucks and Equipment, Nathan's Garage.
Class 2.
Those for Class 2. What's the board's pleasure?
Make your motion to accept and renew.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Class 3 motor vehicle licenses, J&T Auto Salvage, Westgate Auto, Hometown Automotive, Bug Stevens, Freetown Auto, Millis Industries, Big Wheels Truck and Sales, East Freetown Auto Salvage LLC, CSA Auto Parts, D&M Auto Enterprises.
Make a motion, we issue those licenses for the Class 3 motor vehicle licenses as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and Graveyard License Renewal for Millis Industries, Inc.
Make a motion to grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Auctioneer License Renewal for J&T Auto Salvage.
Make a motion to renew.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, discuss special election offerings for the marijuana retail sales. David?
I didn't put together a date because I thought the board was going to be discussing the
effective date based upon what they felt would be the best date to have the election. I know that the town clerk was in, and that she informed us that we need 35 days prior to calling the election to schedule it. That's the only thing that I am aware of that would impact a decision to schedule a date.
Last week, last meeting, I should say, we carried this over because at that time, we weren't sure if we were going to have, what the recommendation from the building committee was going to be. So we wanted to have that meeting first to see if the building committee had a specific time and date, but it doesn't.
No, it
actually.
doesn't.
So that really is independent of that at this time.
So did we want to throw dates out there for this, or did we want to have one more meeting of the building committee before we make a decision?
I think we should look at an area, like a deadline date, and try to do the math back, and if it needs to be before April 1st, you can take 35 days off from that and say, okay, shouldn't be any later than, or whatever the date time is, shouldn't be any later than March 1st, for example. And then the building committee has a goal and says, okay, if we can get our work done by March 1st, we'll have everything on that March 1st date.
So I'm gonna have a meeting with Rick Pomeroy and go over the timeline, because we keep pushing things out. So the committee is actually a little bit behind, really. Before we were ahead of schedule, and now
Right.
we're kind of behind schedule. So as soon as we have a date in mind, then I can get back to everybody.
I think if we had a tentative, nothing but a tentative date, say March 1st,
I think we have to just,
and then let them see if the building committee can work with that.
I think we have to do it independently.
Two separate
Because,
ones.
yeah, I'm not sure that we're gonna, first of all, we don't wanna rush the building committee
No.
if they're not quite ready, and if there's issues that need to be talked about and worked through. So I think that we should just make a deadline or a date for the marijuana one, and if we have to have two, we have to have two.
Right.
Remember, we have to have a town, for this one, not for the marijuana one, but for the building committee one, we have to have a town meeting as well as a debt exclusion. So I don't know if we wanna get into the minutia of all of that.
Is there an order to that one? Do you have to have
No.
a town meeting first and then the debt excluding vote? No.
Mm-mm.
So if we said we wanna have a decision by that deadline, that March 1st deadline, just to use a number. If it's not gonna work out with the building committee, that's fine, we still just go
We
with that.
just go with this,
With
yeah.
just the marijuana. If it does work and we can have both on the same, then we go with that.
Yep,
So I think that'd be a goal we should shoot for.
okay.
personally.
I'm just thinking, David, can you the state forest land here on Chase Road, what was the deadline?
That was for a town meeting.
Yes, what was the deadline for that?
They initially said March 1st, but they're pushing that off to March 31st. I haven't received a letter to that effect yet, and I'm still waiting on it from the DCR.
Just keep that in mind too, have that little issue.
So that doesn't need to be a ballot, that needs to
No,
be a
I
town
know,
meeting.
town meeting.
Yeah. And there are a couple of other things that potentially could be on there if the board so desired.
Okay.
I think that when you, well, we'll talk about it when it's time.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
Okay,
That's all.
I think.
So I don't think we set a hard date today, unless you want to, but I don't see a need to actually set a hard date. I just think that should be a goal that,
So I think we'll know better where the building committee is after the next meeting, and after I sit down with Rick Pomeroy and Taylor and iron out like what they think the timeline is gonna look like now. And then we just have to make sure that we have everybody at the building committee meetings to make decisions as we move forward.
if it is March 1st, my math serves me correctly, you're talking about the last week of January for
Yeah,
the
it's-
35 days, so
It's tough.
you're only
That's
talking a
tough.
month and a half-ish.
I mean, that's definitely doable right now for the marijuana part of this. I'm not really sure that we're gonna be ready for,
Right.
the building committee's gonna be ready for
It's
that.
gotta be bids.
And I don't know if there's the reason I said March 1st, I don't know if there's the Attorney General's gonna wanna do a review of the vote, or if it's just once we take the vote the next day, it goes into effect. You know, if the town votes to abolish if the next day that's the law, or if it has to go for the Attorney General review, she gives an opinion, takes her whatever time it takes her to give her opinion. You know, I don't wanna be,
Yeah, coming against that April 1st.
yeah, I don't wanna push the April 1st deadline, because we could even go mid-March, but I just don't know. Maybe that's something town council could tell us. I don't know.
I think once you have that vote, I mean,
It's done.
pretty, it's binding. The only hiccup would be is if it were worded the wrong way, or,
Language.
so any like little hiccup like that would certainly, flag something, but I think that once you have that date, and that vote, then
Okay.
it's just, it's not like they can approve or not approve whatever
Right.
we voted, it's just that they wanna make sure that, everything is worded correctly and we can move forward with that. All right, so, I think that we hold that for the next meeting as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Might be 2 meetings, because the building committee's not gonna meet again until,
the 19th,
right.
okay.
Just to be clear, whenever you schedule the town meeting, next town warrant or whatever, is like, that's gonna have a binding vote regarding marijuana sales for yay or nay?
So we've already had our, town meeting, our special town meeting in the fall.
Yep.
And now, because the town actually approved the sale of recreational marijuana at the ballot, for the state elections, now we also have, to make the decision whether we wanna abolish it, and that's a ballot question. So that's the date, we don't have to have another town meeting for that. We just have to have a ballot vote. What Robbie was referring to is that the building committee and our police station committee, we would have to have a ballot vote and a town meeting vote in order to expend the funds. So those are two different,
Just cost-wise, if we could have one ballot with 2 questions on it, cost-wise, it would behoove us, but we might run out of time, that might not happen, we might have to have two separate ballots. But yeah, you'll have a warning, it'll say, pretty much, you know, are you for or against?
So it's gonna be like an all-day ballot
Yep.
for
Noon to 8,
hopefully 2 questions, if you can make that possible for sometime in January, February, you don't know yet.
March.
We're looking
Oh,
at March.
We're looking for March.
You're looking for March. Okay.
Yep. And your name, please?
Dan Schummer, Standard Times.
Thank you. Welcome.
That was your last name.
I wasn't. All right. So we'll hold that for the next, well, not the
Probably
next one, the one after
one
that.
after, yeah.
All right. Approve, sign, opening permit for 93 South Main Street by Eversource.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, charge for the Cable Advisory Committee.
Okay, what I did is, just based upon knowing certain things about what the cable advisory should be doing, particularly the negotiation of the contract which is coming up in 2020, I just basically framed out some ideas regarding what they should be doing in terms of looking to accomplish as part of the negotiation in terms of rates, equipment terms, and programming, as well as some other general informational kind of things that, such as training volunteers, use the equipment, overseeing the budget, acquiring and purchasing video equipment. I can sit down with them at some point and go through this and maybe frame out some ideas as they start the process of negotiating, because I think that there's an opportunity there for us to get something back for what we're giving the cable company, and I want to see that we do that.
Okay.
So that would be.
They're supposed to provide, 3 channels for us, public access,
This is a
government access, and educational access?
I believe so, yes, this is public education, yeah.
All right. Sounds good to me. You're on that, right?
I don't know. On everything else, why not? I think I have Wednesday nights for 2 hours I have available.
Charlie? Oh,
Charlie, that's a nice,
Cable Charlie.
Right.
have you been to Serta? Serta's a nice boy to be on.
All right, discuss town Christmas party and closure of town offices for Christmas. Ally?
I would like to have more close at 1 o'clock on the 19th of December, and we're gonna have it at the VFW.
Close at 1 on the 19th?
Yeah.
And is this gonna cost the town, is the town paying for this? How's this funded?
There's 2 Secret Santas that'll pay for everything.
2 Secret Santas paying for everything?
Mm-hmm.
So no expense to the town?
Correct.
Okay.
All right,
I'll make a motion to approve on December 19th at 1 PM.
And I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, town administrators report.
Okay, I just wanted the board to know that, one of the things I've been trying to do, I mentioned at the last meeting, that we have a couple dog complaints out there, and I've been trying to get them to meet with me and the animal control officer, to avoid having it come into a board meeting and be on the cable. And tonight we held a meeting with 2 of the parties, and we actually got resolution. They shook hands, and it was a very productive meeting, and I think that one is going to work out. I'm still waiting on another one that we're talking about, and hopefully that will be the same thing, that we can all sit down as interested parties and accomplish some kind of resolution without bringing it before the board. The Vadar accounting system is in the process of being installed this week. That's the accounting system for the cloud. We installed, Tim installed all the Citrix applications on the individual computers today, and they're going to be coming up for a full day on Wednesday. They're going to freeze the accounts for 1 day while they make the transition, but that should be moving forward from here. We did have 2 heating issues, one of which was at the fire station 2, where we had a cracked boiler. We've been working with the state, and we get an emergency declaration from what they call DCAM, and they have allowed us to bypass the formal bidding procedures that are associated with going out to bid because of the expedited nature of the problem. We have 3 bids in now. We're having a bid meeting on Wednesday to talk about, meet with the bidders so that everybody has the same interpretation of what we're trying to do. So we're moving forward with that, and I also contacted Maya to see if we have any boiler coverage in place that could help offset any costs that are associated with replacing the boiler. I can't guarantee that, but if not, then we're going to have to figure out specifically where that money is going to be coming from. We had a similar, not a similar problem. We didn't crack the boiler, but at the library, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, we had a problem where we had no heat in the building, and I coordinated with Dorothy. Dorothy coordinated with Wilkinson Oil, who installed the boiler less than 2 years ago.
Same one?
And they were able to get it up and running. There's a question about the quality of the fuel, and I'm going back to the vendor to see if I can get some resolution with that. I did contact that company, and I will be following up on that.
Wilkinson was very good. I received the bill today.
Yeah.
They were out on a Saturday, which is usually time and a half. They were there from 12:30 to 5:30 because I was there the whole time with them. And I got the bill of $139. I was shocked that it was that
They
low.
replaced the
Everything.
nozzles.
And I had all the original
warranty.
paperwork.
Right.
So the pump, the major part that was gone, was still under warranty because I had the paperwork. I showed it right to them.
So any inclination?
They're still sticking to the fact they think it's bad oil from Peterson. We have 2 bottles. I brought them to Dave. One is the color oil's supposed to be. The color that's in our tank looks like varnish, and it smells a little different than the oil.
Okay.
So we're looking into possibly switching from Peterson to Wilkinson. Despite the fact of this too, Peterson let me run out of oil 3 times last winter.
Okay.
We did have our first finance team meeting, which I thought was pretty productive. We talked about the OPEB liability and trust agreement. Talked about the budget, record storage, health insurance, policy, old receivables collection, a sale of surplus property, which is going to be on our next agenda, as well as having an investment advisory service. I guess there's several of them out there, and we're going to have them come in and make a presentation to us to see if there's ways that we can generate more cash in terms of the interest rates that were being offered and the services that are provided. And we're also talking about the purchase order threshold, but there's a step that we got to take in terms of reviewing the whole process of how we do purchase orders before we can actually do that. So I have a department head meeting set for December 12th. I'm going to distribute the budget forms at that time. It's going to be for level funded budgets with explanations on situations where they exceed the level funding, as well as for any contracted obligations that departments, individual departments are going to be responsible for. I'm going to be meeting with all of the department heads prior to the meeting with the board, and we're going to actually have a joint meeting between the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee, so that we can review all of the major budgets. The smaller budgets, I probably won't have them come in, and we want to have everybody hearing the same thing, and I think there's a general consensus is that that's what we should do. And I'm going to give the Finance Committee the budget to review as soon as we have it put together. I got an offer from Paula Charette to help us write an IT grant under the Community Compact, and she and I are going to be working on that hopefully in the next month or so, included January. So particularly pulling in that whole issue or the idea of regionalization of IT services and how we could better manage our IT services.
It's one of the things that we talked about at the financial management team meeting is trying to regionalize the IT, because it's been kind of hard to coordinate things, and maybe either we do Tri-Town, Berkeley, Freetown, Lakeville, or just Freetown, Lakeville.
We had a discussion about that when we had the problems a year ago with
Yeah,
all the...
and we talked about doing it before we go into the budget season, so this is a great time to look at that.
Okay.
We're going to be having a meeting on December 18th on the South Main Street Bridge project, specifically relating to workspace that's needed to allow the bridge company to perform the work. I'd like to see the work performed early next spring, and not waiting again. It's been 2 years in a row where we've waited until after the 4th of July parade and the fish coming upstream. We're going to try to figure out a way to get around that so that the bridge can be repaired properly in the spring. And getting the agreement of the parties between the access to the land and being able to do the job. We did get in a water ACO. I was invited to their meeting on Friday, and they are asking that the board sign off on the ACO, as well as the sewer commissioners. Their argument is that they don't feel that they should be authorizing something that would bind the town to any financial obligation. So we're probably going to need like a 2-minute meeting to vote on that. And
when's the timeline for that?
Actually, that's the problem. Is it's before the day before our next meeting. So.
And because we were already past the agenda, we couldn't be on this agenda.
Yeah, I got invited to the meeting on Friday. Just they came upstairs and asked me to attend the meeting. I didn't even have that planned at that point.
Okay.
So the ACO is technically, though, between the Water Commission and
DEP.
DEP. It really doesn't have anything to pertain to, we didn't we didn't negotiate the terms. I mean, yeah, I was there, but I mean, the terms are negotiated by the water commission, and so, I mean, if we did a joint, sign off on it, that's one thing,
Yeah,
but,
they're gonna sign up on it
all
also.
right, cause it
They
shouldn't
just wanted to
be,
make sure that the board had an opportunity to sign it because they felt that they didn't want to overstep their authority in expending funds that directly come under the direction of the board.
I'm confused. What funds?
Well, whatever, I guess it's
Decommissioning
related
funds
more
of the
to
site.
penalties and if they don't meet the timeline.
The penalties will be, well, I mean, that's something that we're gonna have to talk about, because, are the penalties gonna come out of the general fund, or are the penalties gonna come out of,
It's gonna have to come out of their fund if
out
they,
of their fund? So, exactly, like, who's
but
gonna be?
eventually it comes back to us. I mean, if they bankrupt their fund or if we hold the general fund's purse string, so
Yeah, but is it gonna come out of the water enterprise, water and sewer enterprise fund, or is it gonna come out of the general fund? And I think that that's something that we haven't really even talked, I'm just glad it's done. And I'm-
absolutely, but the ACO doesn't really
Right,
pertain
that's
to
what
that
I'm
either way.
saying,
They don't really,
exactly,
one
so
way or the other.
why,
Yeah, they just insisted that the board should sign it because of they felt uncomfortable obligating the town to any potential fines and fees.
I mean, I can see fees associated because they want to decommission the current site. So there is going to be a fee to that.
but there's
that's
already
not-
money set aside, there's $600,000
And that's
that
already in
we've
their
already
account.
approved, right, so there's no other funds that we would have to expend or approve, since that's already been approved. I mean, I don't know, I'd have to
I'm-
find out
I'm-
from them. I know,
yeah,
you're just
I'm just
relaying a
relaying
message,
the
I get it. But,
You want to sit down with the chair and see if what's...
I'll just try to find, I don't, you know what I'm saying,
Well,
like,
Yeah, I kind of see their point that we are, the board is selected really the ultimate in signing any contract. But, you know, to the stipulations of the agreement, they may be
The agreement so we don't get, I mean,
Right.
yeah.
right.
yeah. So I don't have a problem one way or the other. So if you want to set it up and come up with a meeting time, that's fine.
It'll be like a 5-minute meeting. All right, one final thing, Fred Baker at the school is going to be retiring, and I thought it would be nice if we sent him a letter thanking him for his service and
Absolutely.
Yep,
good for me.
He's been there how many years?
Been there a long time. I know,
Yeah,
so.
he said it from the last meeting. I forgot what he said.
5, 6 years, 5 years.
Fred Baker?
Mhm.
I think we've been in the system for a long time. Waiting days on, we've been in the system.
So I think he's been in,
He's been in a system, but not
Not our
necessarily our system.
Oh.
Yeah.
Under the impression he's been there.
Yeah, I was too.
Okay,
That's it.
perfect, thank you. All right, Board of Health?
all set, other than, right,
How is the cost on Chipaway? Is that still an issue? Is that still
That's
there?
an issue. The fence is all the way up to the top of the road.
If you don't mind, can you at some point send Derek by and see what the situation is? 'Cause we had an issue there when I was
okay,
health chair last year,
that's basically.
and there was, the horse was underfed, and
Yeah, I don't think anybody's checked on it in a while, but the fence has been, and that was one of the stipulations, that they weren't gonna move the fence. The fence is all the way to the top of the road. So,
but he was tripping over stuff, and
Mhm.
he had issues. Okay.
Personnel Board.
Personnel board. I was waiting for you.
No,
I have a change of status form for Dorothy Stanley Ballard. Currently the library director, Department 611, which I'm assuming is library payroll. Currently at a rate of $28.42. This is for a length of service increase to the library director, same department, to a rate of $29.56.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And while you're here, we have a letter from you about changing times around. Can you
Yes.
explain it a little bit for us?
We currently have a 10-hour position vacant. and which means we would have to go out and advertise, interview, train. I would like to split that to the 10 hours between my two new employees, Chelsea Hester and Brittany Nomandin, because they have proven we did a wonderful, Pat, you want to back me on the back, Karen, we did a wonderful job picking these candidates, because really, we don't have a need now for a fourth person. We need the hours, but we don't need the person any longer, because now we cover each other, we have each other's backs, we're willing to switch schedules and shifts.
Perfect.
So I would like to make them 30 hours. It's already in my budget. They already receive benefits, so it wouldn't cost anything to do so.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the
I'll
increase in hours.
Motion made and seconded to increase the hours for both employees by the 5 hours each. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You should come in both libraries. You'd be shocked.
I haven't been there in a little while.
It's just amazing.
That's awesome.
I mean, we're even decorated for Christmas at the White, which we've never done.
That's amazing.
We
That's
got
great.
Story Hour up and running, 19 people at a time. It's just,
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good to hear.
yes.
And congratulations on your 10 years.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So, anything else? I did get a phone call from Ray Levy today. I guess at the last meeting you talked to him about changing the community host agreement.
Well, he actually asked us what he wants to, I don't know if you reviewed the meeting, but he'd like to try to have retail there. So he brought up the fact that it specifically says in his host community agreement that he can't have it. But we didn't shut the door on anything. We told him, bring back a presentation exactly what you're looking for with examples, where it is on the site, where neighboring, because that's also zoned for mixed-use development, where that is, how close the relationship is, so the full board, because you weren't in attendance, has a chance to review everything, exactly what they're looking for it to do. He said he would do that, and that's where we stood.
All right, so he indicated that he changed his host community agreement. Do you want him to come in and do a presentation? Do you want him to send in the host community agreement, review it, and then ask for a update? Which way do you want to do
I
it?
think that, to me, that would be the best way to do it.
Send.
Send it in so we can review it and
Okay.
have him, if he wants to come in and review it and make a presentation, and do that also.
All right, so I'll call him back and have him send it in, and then we can review it at the next meeting, and then if we want to have a presentation, we can. Okay, that's fine. All right,
Not just that, though, I want also like to see where he is versus where his residential, you know, how close he's gonna be to residential dwellings and stuff.
I think he just
I mean,
took the
that's-
host community agreement and changed to put,
And I'm sure that's the most convenient thing for him.
right, so I'm saying, should we have him in?
I wanna see
explain
that
it?
though too, but I'd just send what he has, so we can see it, and then,
All right, so
we'll review
probably
it.
another month from now, we want him to come in for a presentation, but at this time, we'll just review the host community agreement.
Absolutely.
All right, we already had public discussion, but I see there's new people in the back. Do you have anything in front of the board? Yes,
Yes. I got a question.
sure.
I'm from F&F Auto Sales, 145 Burley Road, East Freetown. I'm trying to sell my property to somebody who's interested in buying with also with a dealer's license, but, you know, and I'd like to find out, is any kind of warranty if I turn my license in? Because they're telling me they cannot, the license is not transferable. So if I turn my license in, and the person that wants to buy will fill the new license and stuff, if there's any guarantee that you will get his license.
Yeah, the new person has to go through another public hearing, and there would be a name change. The location wouldn't change, but the abutters have to be notified and it would have to come to a hearing.
They'll have to come to a hearing?
And the
Because-
board would vote on the license.
Yeah, you need a plan showing where the
Yeah.
cars are, where the buildings are. Yeah,
Okay,
fulfill
good.
all of the obligations
All
that
right.
are outlined in the class two.
I mean, it could be the same plan showing the same thing you have
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
There's
same
no
thing, no
change.
change,
If
nothing.
he's
But
not gonna change it, yeah, then just bring in what he would bring in what you originally had, and that would be part of the public hearing.
Okay, because when I bought that property,
Mm-hmm.
it was in one condition. I'll buy the property if I get the dealer's license with it. But and what the guy told me that they transferred the license to my name, and, but I don't understand, did he turn his license in when I bought it, or how did he do it? It used to be Auto Works before,
So way
And
back when you bought the,
1998,
okay.
okay?
I wasn't around, believe it or not, I wasn't around back then.
Because the guy don't wanna buy the property unless he gets the license, that's the only reason he's buying, because he don't wanna do no service, all he wants to do is sell cars, nothing else.
You might wanna talk, I don't know who's your closing agent, but you might wanna talk to him about, to maybe there's some caveat that they could put in pending his license, the sale was pending his license, so that way he's protected, you're protected,
Yeah.
and you can continue with your sale. But I can't tell you that, that's
So I have
that's
to
an
come
illegal
back to
opinion you're
another
gonna wanna
meeting.
talk to with whoever's gonna do your closing with you, you have an attorney do your closing, whatever.
Okay,
But that's
So-
something you would have to talk to them about.
And we can't promise, like, when you have the public hearing, people
Right.
would ask questions, you know, so, I mean, as long as nothing changes and it, you know, you're not going from 5 cars to 55
no, it's the
cars.
same thing as it is, you know? So, only
don't
thing is
see-
gonna change, no service, no nothing, you don't
Right.
want anything to do with the garages. Just a dealer's license, nothing else.
Okay. I don't see
So-
an issue, but you still have to go through the
Process.
process.
Okay, all right then,
You're welcome.
thanks.
Anybody else? No? Okay. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
I have one,
Oh,
sorry.
Sure.
One question, just going back to the DCR purchase of the property on Chase Road. Aside from the fact that you have a deadline before the grant expires, I mean, is there any other relation it has to the separate vote on the marijuana? I mean, just
No.
trying.
No, when's
the Nothing.
town meeting?
Yeah, okay, and that just requires, that's gonna be a separate ballot vote, not a separate town meeting?
That would be
No,
a town
that's a
meeting.
town
That would be a
Town
town
meeting.
meeting, okay.
Yeah.
So, the town meeting would just be for the DCR property, and the ballot vote would just be, would be for vote, for marijuana, and is there a separate question?
So the town meeting vote would be, this is the DCR issue, and also to expend any money for the debt exclusion.
Okay,
And then the ballot vote would be to secure a decision for the construction of a new police station. And also to either have or not have marijuana retail sales.
As long as the timelines work out.
new police station, that wasn't discussed at the last meeting, so that's kind of like what.
It's a debt exclusion for the new police station.
Okay, so.
But that's a separate board from this board, it's the police subcommittee board.
Okay.
And we'll follow their recommendation when they think, what they need, when they need it, that type of thing. We're trying to just make it so it's cheapest for the town to have one, and do 2 things at one meeting and 2
Yep.
ballot questions at the other.
That I get, so is it set that, well,
Nothing said.
well, yeah, so there is the possibility of a new police station, for, Freetown?
Yes.
What would happen with the old station?
That all has to go through, we haven't decided anything, that's all through, and that's not, again, that's not this board, that's the police committee,
Okay.
subcommittee board, which meets, I think, the next meeting, 19th?
The 19th.
Okay, so, okay, so,
And that ballot question on the DCR thing, we already had a ballot question on the last election, but things have changed there, so they want a new ballot question. I mean, not ballot question, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A new, no, I'm muddy in the water.
Yeah.
can't you just have one encompassing meeting for?
Wouldn't that be nice? And they want a new, we had it out, article on town meeting, it passed, and things have changed on it, so they want a new article on a new town meeting
Okay.
for the changes.
This year, new, okay.
And I still make a motion to adjourn.
I apologize.
No problem.
Yep.
65 Chase Road for a license renewal. Did you guys do that previously?
Yep.
Everything,
Everything's all set.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
sorry for.
No worries.
No problem.
All right, you still making that motion to adjourn?
I might retract that.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.